Hey y'all, it's Steve, Hobo with Wood, and this video is going to be completely and solely about node editing. One of the regular channel contributors asked about some of the differences in node editing, and we're going to do a deep dive in how you can use node editing to manipulate your images. Stay tuned. So what tools can you use and what can you do in node editing? What's available at your fingertips and how do you use them? Well, let's jump into Lightburn and take a look at each and every one of these. So I made a screenshot of this and blew it up because if you come over here to node editing and hover right over node editing, you'll get that list of nodes, and my cursor is in the way where I'm trying to make it large enough for you guys to see what I'm doing, and it will only stay there for a few minutes. But I made a screenshot of it, and here we got it. We'll scroll up and down. All right. So when you're in node editing, these are the shortcut letters to create the effects or desired results. S is to smooth a corner node while hovering over a node. S is also to convert a line to a smooth curve while hovering over a line. So depending on where you're hovering, are you over a node or are you over a line, it will turn one or the other smooth. L, convert curve to a line while hovering over a curve. C, convert smooth node to a corner while hovering over a node. D, delete node while hovering over a node. D, delete line while hovering over a line. I, insert node point while hovering over a line or a curve. M, insert node at midpoint while hovering over a line or a curve. B, break shape at point while hovering over a point. T, trim line while hovering over a line, trim line under mouse at next intersection. E, extend line while hovering over a point, extend the line from point under mouse to intersection with another shape. And lastly, A, align to an angle. While hovering over a line, press A to align it to the nearest horizontal, vertical, or 45-degree angle. And this is something new as of version 1.3. So if you're not on version 1.3, you will not have A to align to angle. And it's got its uses, but there's some other neat things too. But we're going to go over every one of these one by one and how they work in demonstration. And let's jump back over to Lightburn. And I'm going to draw out some shapes, and then I'm going to create a shape using the line tool. So first I'm just going to draw out a square or a rectangle. Let's put it in align mode. Then I'm going to draw out a circle or an ellipse, polygon. And now I'm going to draw out a shape using my pencil tool. And why not just make it triangular shaped? Alright, so there are 4 different shapes drawn with 4 different tools. And if I select every one of them and go to node editing, which down your menu bar you have your selector tool, your pencil tool, your rectangle tool, your ellipse tool, polygon tool, and then next is your node editing tool. And when you select the node editing tool, the only nodes that you see out of all those pieces I created are the ones that from where I drew out the triangle with the pencil tool. And that's because the circle, the rectangle, and the polygon are not paths. The polygon is a shape, and the circle and the rectangle are primitives. So, in order to see our nodes on these, we have to convert all of these to a path. You can do that one of two ways. You can just select the whole thing, right click, and then right here, convert to path. Or, if you select it all, if you're not big on using the right click and the shortcuts, edit, menu, drop down, convert to path. But also there you see it's also Control Shift C. So there is a bunch of ways to convert these shapes and primitives to paths, but we're just going to convert all of them right now. And now when we go into select them all and go into node editing, now everything has nodes on it. The nodes are at the corner of all the pieces except for the ellipse, and there are 4 nodes on the ellipse at the beginning and end of each quadrant of that ellipse. So, what is the first tool in node editing? If we hover over it, it's the S, smooth node or align. Alright, and if you recall correctly, the S can be used 2 ways. Smooth the corner node or convert line to a smooth curve. So let's look at the 2 ways that S can be used. So with the ellipse, those are all curves. There are already smooth lines. But with our polygon and our rectangle, we only have 4 corner nodes. Now let's talk about the nodes for just one brief second. If we look at this node right here real close, as close as I can get it, that is a square node. And the fact that that is square in shape tells or indicates us that that is a corner node. Here, this node is round. That is a smooth node. So if it's a round node, it's got a smooth, it's a smooth line. A square node is a corner or a straight line. So I'm going to come up here to this rectangle, and the first thing I want to do is let's look at, it said smooth corner node while hovering over a node. So if I come here to this node and I hover over that node and I hit the letter S, it's going to change from that square to a round shape, and it also rounded those 2 lines. It smoothed those lines all the way to the next nodes. It's no longer a straight line, and it's put these tangents or handlebars out here on either side of that node that will allow you to manipulate that curve and how extreme it is. Simply, and they will remain directly opposite each other. So when you move one, you're just going to move the other in the opposite direction. So as you rotate it, they're rotating opposite each other. But you can stretch one without the other. So I can stretch that one way out here, and the other one will remain the same length. So that's smooth, or that's smooth node. Now, the one thing that I learned in one of my previous videos, trying to figure out why undo wasn't working whenever you're working in node editing. Try to do undo. I can hit it all I want. It's not going to do anything. It has no effect. That's because right now, Lightburn recognizes this node as having priority. It's still red. It's selected. So if I select anywhere outside of that node and it's now deselected, if I hit the undo button, now undo works in node editing. But you cannot have a node or any part of a node selected or having priority and undo work. Now that was smooth node. Now we're going to do smooth line. So I'm going to come over here on this line, and if you noticed when if I did smooth node S, it changed that line and this line. But if I come up here to just this top line and I hover over the line and not the node and hit the letter S, it's left that square, so that's still a corner node. And it's left that square, it's still a corner node. But you have these handlebars out here, so now this is no longer a line, it is a curve that you can manipulate by either dragging that line, just click on it and start dragging it up and around, and that's going to allow you to move it like a rubber band. Or you can use those tangents, those little handlebars, to twist them around and do whatever you want to do with it. But that's turned that into a curve or a smooth, they call it smooth line, smooth curve. Yeah, it's a curve. All right, that's still selected down there. It's still red, so if I hit undo, nothing's going to happen. I have to deselect it so nothing is highlighted, and now I can undo that and put it all back. And I need to do one more time in there. Now that's a line again. Those are still corners. Those are all still corners. Now what was next? That was smooth in two different functions, the corners and the line. Now we're going to convert a curve to a line. All right. So if you had a shape like this circle, they're already smooth. That's a round node, that's a round node, and that's a curve right there. And we can twist it around, do whatever. But if we wanted that to be a straight point from that node to that node, all we have to do is hover over that line and hit the letter L. And now that's a straight line. Nothing's selected, so I can undo and go back to that first shape that I drew out. And if I wanted to make that a straight line there without this bottom curve, just hover over that line and hit L. And I'm going to do the same thing on this bottom quadrant, L. And now you've got, a semicircle up here that comes to a point on this side. So L will convert a smooth curve to a line between between the two closest nodes. Now, what's next? Smooth node, convert smooth node to a corner, C's. Convert smooth node to corner while hovering over a node. All right, a smooth node to a corner. So if we go back to what I was showing you to begin with, this is a corner node because it's square. That's a smooth node because it's round. So if I come up here to this square and I'm going to convert this to a smooth line by hitting S, and then I'm going to draw it up here where I want it, and then I want to have this point fixed. Then I'm going to use the letter I, and we haven't got to I yet, but I'm going to use the letter I to insert a node. I'm going to insert that node, and it's a smooth node because it's on that smooth curve. Now, I want to make that a corner node. So, convert curve, no, right here, C. Convert smooth node to a corner. So I want to make this a corner node. I'm going to hit the letter C. Now, it doesn't look like anything has happened. But, if we go in tight, that's now a corner node. That square is no longer round. And what happens when you drag this line? Well, I'm going to grab right here and I'm going to pull it down. And I'm going to grab right here and pull this one down. So that become a fixed position. And I can move that tangent around to try and make a little better, whatever look. But that is a corner node now, and it's anchored to that point. Now you can move it. It's not truly anchored in place, but it's not part of the curve anymore. That is a fixed position or a corner node. It's not it's a corner. It's just what it sounds like. It's a corner. Now undo that. Now I'll show you if that's a smooth line, smooth curve. I put that up there, and then I hit that I insert, and I do not put that as a corner. I do not convert that to a corner node. I can still grab this line right here and bring it down, but see how it adversely affects, because these handlebars, these tangents on this node, when one moves, the other one has to move. And that's the reason you turn that into a corner. So you can pull this down and not adversely affect the other. See, when you try and get them down there, it's essentially doing it on its own, but it's way up here, the node's down there. It's kind of balancing itself out. But if we insert that node with letter I and then hit C to convert it to a corner, now you can drag that down, and it will only affect the handlebar on this side and the handlebar on this side of that curve. Convert smooth node to a corner. That's C. Now we're going to use D for delete node. So I just showed you I was to insert, and if we just come over here and hit the letter I to insert a node there and insert a node there, and then I use the letter S to change this to a smooth curve, then I drag this up here like this, and I'm like, man, I really don't want that there or that there. Well, you can actually select more than one node at a time by drawing that rectangle around. You see they're both highlighted, and hit the letter D, and that's going to delete both of those nodes. Now the reason that that curve went away, we'll go back here, so go undo. This is a node, this is a node, this was a curved, a smooth curve, but there are no nodes in here to anchor that in place. So when you got rid of these two nodes, the curve, the smooth curve between them also went away. So if you wanted to maintain that, you would hit I up here and then come down here, select both of those and hit the letter D. But because that, well, actually that's a round node. I don't know why that didn't stay as a curve. That's a round node. That's a corner node, but I would have expected that to remain smooth line. If I hit, go see there, it's round. That's not the outcome I was expecting there. But if I hit S, now it goes back, but it was already round, so it should have stayed smooth. Don't know why it didn't do that. In fact, let's go back. Deselect that, go back. See, that's a smooth, and it has two handlebars on it. And if I hit S, hover over it and hit S, it stretched those bars out a little bit, but it was already a smooth curve. Now if I select both of those and delete both of them, yeah, it's still, that's an unusual outcome. I don't think that's what it should do, but hey, there it is. There's a smooth node with a straight line on either end. Not the outcome I was expecting. We'll select it, delete it. We're back to our regular square. So if you know why it's doing that, you can drop me in the comments and let me know. All right, what's next? Deleting nodes is just hover over the node and hit the letter D. And it's very important that you remember to use the letter D and not the delete button. Because if you hit the delete button, it will delete the entire image that's currently selected. Now delete line. Now this came up, and this is what kind of prompted this video. The delete line and the trim line. What was the difference? Well, let's look at the delete line. We looked at delete node. Let's look at D for delete line. So if I come right here and I use I to insert a node, that node is there, it's in the way. You can hover over it and hit the letter D and make that node go away. But if you want that line to go away, hover over any part of that line and hit the letter D, and that entire line is going to disappear. Undo, bring it back. Insert node, I've shown you that multiple times while hovering over a line or a curve. You can insert a line or insert a node anywhere you want by just hovering over a line and hitting the letter I. Doesn't matter if it's a line, doesn't matter if it's a curve. When you insert a node in a curve, it puts that node in as a smooth node. But the letter I will insert a node underneath wherever you're currently hovering. Just hit a letter I, and there's your node. I'm going to undo, get rid of all those. All right, now insert node at midpoint, M. Now this one is something that I only learned recently, within the last 3 or 4 months, and it's now my best friend when I'm using Node Editor and I'm inserting nodes. This will insert a node at the midpoint of the 2 nodes on either side of it. So if we go back here, and there's a node here on that corner and that corner, doesn't matter where you are on that line. If you hover over the line and hit the letter M, it's going to put a node in the midpoint of those 2 nodes. Now I can remain right here just inside that node and continue to hit the letter M, and it's going to continue to bring the nodes into the midpoint of the other nodes. So now I just need to come over here and put a node here, and now I can come here and hit hit the letter M twice, and over here once, and come over here and hit it twice, 3 times. All right, there I go, and come over here and just keep hitting the letter M until now I've got all those perfectly spaced. Those are exactly spaced within the middle of each of the next one. And that could be handy whenever you're wanting to do different designs or creations, and you want to know where the proper spacing is. But because when we go out of Node Editor and excuse me, we come down here to this square, and if I come right here to the corner, if you notice the cursor changes. While I'm hovering over the line, you get a straight line with a little squiggly point in the middle. If I come up here to the corner, it'll change to a circle with an X through it. If I come down here to about the midpoint on that line, I start rolling down. When I get to the midpoint right there, if you get kind of close, your cursor will change to a straight line with a circle through it. So that's the midpoint in that line. And there are no other nodes on this line anywhere. If I come up here to this line where we just put all those nodes in there, I can get my circle with there it is, a plus mark. But if I come down this line, I will find there's a node. It just changed from the circle to a node point. And I can come on down here. Nope, there was that another. But where that's handy is if you're going to be creating another shape and you want it to be at that node there. Now you know where that's at. In fact, if I come here to the square, this rectangle tool, and I'll come over here and I find that node right there. Now I can just start drawing that square out to whatever size I want it to be. And if I go in here to node editing now and look, it started right there at that node because that's identified as a node by the cursor. So I'm gonna get rid of that. But another reason or another way that comes in handy with the middle for the nodes, I use it when I'm going to create scallops. You can do it 100 different ways, but this is just one way I'll do it. I'll come in here and I'll grab every other node. So holding my shift button, I select every other one. And then hit the letter S. Well, I forgot it doesn't do them all that way. So we'll do that back. All right, now with them all selected, I can just use my arrow key to come up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever I want them to be. And if I just hit the letter S, on each node. Been nice if it would, with them all selected, if you do one, it would convert them all, but it doesn't do that. But now you've got very nice symmetrical scallops going across there. And that's one way that I use the midpoint for nodes. Now, if I want to get rid of all those, all I got to do is just select them all and hit the letter D. And now I'm back to that, but if you look, that's still a curve line, a smooth curve, because the way I did that smooth on the other. But if I want to make that a straight line again, what do? Correct. I hit the letter L. And now that got rid of those little handlebars. Now I'm back to my regular rectangle. B for break shape at point. So if I come in here and I use the letter M, put a node right in the middle, and I want to break that apart, I want to be able to move those lines, I hover over that node and hit the letter B for break. And if you'll notice, it just changed that node. Now it's a bright, larger green one. That is now the origin of that shape. Undo that. And before, the origin of that shape was right down here in this bottom corner. So if you need to change the origin of a shape, you can insert a node where you want the origin to be and hit the letter B to break it, and there's your new origin. But the problem with doing it, if you were doing an engrave, if we put this in fill mode, well, we didn't move it. If you move that node, it didn't break. We hit the letter B for break, and it changed that node to the new origin. Break. Huh. All right. Control Z, Control Z. I'm going to go back to the original. There we go. And actually, it's not there. So I'm going to use the letter M. Now I'm going to hit the letter B for break. And that should have broken that apart where I can grab that node and move it. There we go. I don't know why it wasn't doing it before, but now with it broke, if it was in fill mode, it would no longer fill that because it's no longer connected. Your new origin is still there, but it's now an open shape. If we go into fill, so it's not going to fill that since it's open. But you can reconnect it, and now you're back to it. But your new origin for that shape is still there. But once you connect those, it's now reconnected. It's no longer a broke shape. I'm going to hit break again, the letter B. It's broke, but until you move it, it will stay filled. So if you need to change the origin of a shape, you can just hit the letter B, be sure that you do not move that node, and you've only changed the origin. It's still, well, let's see if it's still technically a closed shape. let's do this. I'm learning with you. We're gonna undo and put that back to align. All right, so right now when I look at this, just that square, and I come up here to edit, closed path is grayed out. It's not an option because it's already a closed path. But if I hit the letter M, insert a node, I got to go to node editing, M to insert a node, and then B to break that node. And now let's go see if it's still a closed path. It's broken. That line is no longer a solid line, but it's still a closed path until we move that and then go to tools. Still a closed path. Obviously it's not a closed path. Let's go now, see, edit. There we go. As long as I was still in that node editing, it was not recognizing that I had broke it. So now with that said, Control Z, put that back, go back to node editing, go to middle, and now hit break. And if we look, it's still showing it's a closed path, cause right here rather, closed path because it's grayed out. But if I go to the selector tool, I haven't moved it, go to the selector tool and then go look, yeah, it's an open shape. And so when you try to do that in a fill mode, well, it's an open shape because it's asking you if you want to close the path, but it's still doing that fill. Okay. That's not what I was expecting either, because if that's an open shape, it will not do a fill. Okay, so a little something different, not what I was expecting. So I go back here to nodes and I grab that node. As soon as I move it, it's no longer filled. If I connect them again, it'll fill it, but it's no longer broken. All right, so that's B, break. Trim line. Now, this was like I said, the reason for this video was the difference between delete and trim. And this is why I put all these other shapes on this. We've been working with this square, the rectangle, but now we're going to work with the other shapes. And let's put this back in line mode. And I'm going to delete that node. All right. Now, I've already showed you that if you hover over a line and hit the letter D, it will delete that line. Well, if I'm hovering over that line right now and I hit the letter D, it's going to delete that line only. Control Z, undo. I hover over that line and I hit the letter T, it's going to trim this selected shape until it intersects another shape. So when I hit the letter T, it's going to delete that line and part of this line until it intersects with the triangle, and part of this line until it intersects with the circle. So hovering over the top of it, hit the letter T, and there we go. So there's the difference between delete and trim. Delete will delete a line. So if I hover over this part of the rectangle and I hit the letter D, it's going to delete that entire line right there. So hovering over it and hit the D, it's all gone. I didn't want that. I wanted to keep this part of it. I only want to delete from the triangle to the polygon. So hovering over it, hit the letter T. So it's only going to delete to here. There's your difference between delete and trim. E, extend line. Now this can come in handy in all kinds of instances. It's also one of my favorites. But let's say this line didn't exist up here. The one we just deleted, it never was there. And we want to continue this straight line from here to that triangle. Well, you can do it a couple of ways. You can go into pencil tool, come right down here where they intersect, hold your shift key and draw a straight line out there until you get an intersection there again. Hit your left click and stop the line, and now you've got a straight line, and that continues that up. Now that works. But now let's say you come over here to this polygon. Oh, I don't want to do that. Undo that line. Delete you. Go away. Come over here to this polygon. Select the polygon, and I'm going to go into node editing, and I'm going to delete this top line right here by hitting the letter D to delete it completely. Now I want to extend this line from where it's at up until I get to the triangle. Well, because it's not a straight line, you can't use your pencil tool and the shift button to hold it straight. And if you try to draw a straight line from here to there, you don't know what angle that is, so it's hard to know what angle to draw it at. So all you have to do is hover over that node and hit the letter E, and it's going to extend it until the next intersection point. Now I want to hit it again to get it up to the triangle. Now that is a perfectly straight line from that node to that node. And there they're not intersecting, so you could drag your, if you needed them to intersect, you could select just your polygon shape and drag it over there, and then you say, oh no, well that upset that. Okay, we'll go back into node editing, come back over that node and hit the letter E, and I extended it right back up to the triangle. Same thing here, hit the letter E. Align to an angle, A. While hovering over a line, press A to align to the nearest horizontal, vertical, or 45-degree angle. Again, this is new as of version 1.3. And it should be stressed that this is going to align the current selected shape to the nearest horizontal, vertical, or 45-degree angle, having nothing to do with the 45 horizontal or vertical angles around the shape selected. So what do I mean? So let's go, and I'm going to draw out a square. And for whatever reason, it's gotten bumped, and now you're like, okay. And you don't notice it's gotten bumped until you've done 15 other different things. So let's say I've drawn out a circle and I've got it positioned exactly where I want it, and I got it right here, and then I drew out a polygon and I've got that right over there, and that's exactly where I want it. Then I recognize that this square is no longer positioned correctly, and I don't want to undo everything I did just to get back to where that was at its correct angle. Well, all I have to do is, it's not, number one, if I go to node editing, you're not going to see any nodes because the rectangle tool doesn't show nodes. You have to convert it to a path, and you can do it a couple of ways. Showed you. We're going to right click and convert to a path this time. Now go into node editing. Now you see all four of the nodes, and now I'm going to hover over a line and I'm going to hit the letter A, and that just moved it to the closest, which was the horizontal. So now it's back to its correct horizontal orientation. So now you could then move it and drag it and position it to wherever you needed it to be. But it's going to move to the closest position or angle of either horizontal, vertical, or 45. So if we rotate it a little bit further to like so, and you go into node editing, and you hover over it and you hit the letter A, now that rotated it to 45 because that was its next closest one. If I hit A again, it doesn't do anything. So if it needed to be vertical, then you kind of rotate it beyond 45, getting it close to vertical. And you can see the grid, and you're like, okay, well that's kind of close, but just go to node editing and hit the letter A, and now you're perfect. So that's whenever you need to reorient one of your shapes to either horizontal, vertical, or at a 45-degree angle. If you've drawn it out perfect like that and you need to get it to 45-degree angle, you can just select it and just tell it to rotate 45 degrees. Now you've got that. But it's for when you need to correct a problem and maybe it's too far down the path that you've noticed it and you don't want to undo everything or redraw it. You can then just simply use the node editing tool. It's like, I need that to be horizontal. That's not quite it. Go into node editing, hover over it, and hit the letter A, and now that's aligned. Now, that is all of the tools in the node editor menu. Now I'm going to show you one more thing, and then we're going to wrap this up. Because where that align tool can be beneficial, what's really beneficial is being able to align a shape to another shape. So if I grab this rectangle and I bring it right to the point of that triangle, and now I want this rectangle to be aligned to the side of that triangle, you use 2-point rotation. So with that selected, you come up here to Arrange, 2-point rotation, or Control 2. You come over here and you get, now you've got the cursor's changed. You've got that little angle with a little red line in there showing some rotation. Well, you simply click on the first point. That's where you're going to anchor your object. And then it tells you down here at the bottom, it says click and drag the second point where you want to rotate from. So you come over here, and I'm going to move it up here where I can see a little better. I'm going to grab this corner, and I'm going to rotate that down until I get to the intersection with the triangle, and done. Now that's aligned to that shape. So that's it for node editing, plus the 2-point rotation. That's really handy. Guys, I hope you found this both informative and enjoyable to watch. I don't do these for my health. I do these to get paid. So if you enjoy these videos and want to continue to see Hobo with Wood thrive and prosper in the year of 2024, please consider becoming a patron. Patreon.com/HoboWithWood. My patrons are greatly appreciated and rewarded. The patrons have coupons, all 3 levels, bronze, silvers, and gold, have coupons that get them percentage discounts off of my digital files at HoboWithWood.com. They are also gifted additional files throughout the month all year long. Bronze gets a little less than silver, silver gets a little less than gold, but everybody gets free files on top of the discounted files that they get if they purchase from HoboWithWood.com. However, gold patrons, their coupon is good for 100% off all digital files. My gold patrons get everything for free, everything that's shared in Patreon.com, in addition to all the files I upload to HoboWithWood.com. That's the best value going. If you cannot become a patron at this time, but you found this extremely informative, please go down to the Super Thanks button, hit that Super Thanks, and share some love. Buy me a biscuit. That's what I say. And today's prices, and with Google getting 30% of anything you do on Super Thanks, $5 Super Thanks doesn't even, maybe buy me an egg and cheese biscuit. But every penny, every dollar is greatly appreciated. And if you can't do a Super Thanks at this time, if you just put it in the back of your mind that every time you need to purchase from Amazon, instead of going to Amazon.com or that shortcut that you use on your smartphone or on your desktop that takes you right to the Amazon page, change that. Start going to HoboWithWood.com/Amazon. It's going to take you through the exact same landing page with the exact same products and the exact same prices. And that's for all of the US-based viewers. I've learned that it doesn't work for those over in the UK or United Arab Emirates, because that is the American Amazon. I have not figured out a way to bother getting those other links going for other countries. I need to probably look into that, because I got United Arab Emirates, Australia, Ireland, Portugal. I've got lots of viewers everywhere, and I appreciate every one of them. But for the American folks buying from Amazon.com, when you use hobowithwood.com/Amazon, like I said, it goes to the exact same landing page. You will not see any difference. The only thing that happens is that Amazon recognizes that you've gone to Amazon with my prodding. I've incentivized you for whatever reason to go to Amazon. And they're going to give me a couple pennies off of everything you purchase. It ain't much. But if you do that all year, for the rest of the year, no matter what you buy, be it it's for your laser crafts or your hobbies, or if you're going online and you're buying a 15 or 10 pound box of doggy snacks, no matter what it is you purchase, if you got there by going to hobowithwood.com/Amazon, they're going to send me a few pennies based off of your entire purchase. So please consider doing that at the very least. And I got to get out of here. I got to finish wrapping this video up, and then I've got a live stream tonight, and we're going to talk about the Algo lasers. And I've got the Algo Laser Delta, and we're going to have Jill on from Algo Laser and do a live Q&A. So I got a lot to get done between now and then. So I'm Steve, Hobo with Wood, and I'm out of here. I'll see you in the next video or the next live stream. Hit that like, share, and ring that notification bell so you make sure you don't miss any of the lives. Until the next video, I'm out.